Aletsch-Gletscher, der größte Gletscher der Alpen, hat das Leben 4 junger und mutiger Männer genommen. Am Nachmittag des 4. März verließen 3 Brüder mit einem weiteren Mann den Schutz der Hollandia-Hütte, um hin zum Concordia-Platz zu steigen. Aber die Männer kamen am Abend nicht zurück. Trotz aller Suchaktionen blieb die Gruppe spurlos verschwunden. Was ist an diesem Tag geschehen? Stürzten die Bergsteiger in eine Gletscherspalte? Wurden sie von einer Lawine mitgerissen? Oder haben sie sich in den schlechten Witterungsbedingungen verlaufen? Das Schicksal dieser Männer wird wohl auf immer ein Rätsel bleiben.
Gestern sind menschliche Überreste von 2 Bergsteigern auf dem Aletsch-Gletscher gefunden worden. Während sie in einer wenig besuchten Gegend wandern waren, haben sie nicht nur menschliche Knochen, sondern auch veraltete Kletterausrüstung, Ferngläser, hölzerne Wanderstöcke und sogar ein Portemonnaie mit Geld aus den 20er Jahren entdeckt. Im Augenblick wird vermutet, dass die Überreste von 3 Brüdern stammen, die vor 86 Jahren bei einer Wanderung verschollen sind.
From historical witnesses, we know that the men vanished between the refuge and Concordia-Platz. However, the skeletons were found more than 10 kilometers downhill, on the tongue of the Aletsch Glacier. To explain such a discrepancy, one has to understand the glacial behavior. Since the mountaineers vanished high up on the mountain, their bodies were quickly covered by snow and sank right down under the accumulation of ice. Because the ice moves slowly under gravity like a viscous fluid, the bodies were then taken into the flow of ice and transported downstream. By moving downward, the bodies finally entered a region on the glacier dominated by melting, such that they naturally moved back up to the surface. In order to reconstruct the path followed by the bodies from 1926 to 2012, one needs a complex physical model that can reproduce the trajectory of any ice particle in the glacier. On the one hand, the velocity of the ice is computed by solving equations known from fluid mechanics. Here, the arrows represent the direction and the distance the ice moves. On the other hand, one uses climate data to compute the ice accumulation or melting at the surface of the glacier. By computing simultaneously the motion, the accumulation and the melting of ice, one can reconstruct the past evolution of the glacier. Most interestingly, one can follow the trajectories taken by any individual ice particle. This can also be done backwards in time. Starting from the place where the skeletons of the mountaineers were found, the trajectories within the ice can be calculated until the last location of the group in 1926. Here one can see a vertical and horizontal view of the reconstructed path followed by the bodies in the ice between the bedrock and the surface. The result shows that in 1985, the bodies were transported at 200 meters per year and reached a maximal depth of 250 meters beneath the surface before moving back up to the surface a few decades later. On this map, one can see the last location of the group in 1926. The rectangle indicates the most likely area, accounting for model errors, where the mountaineers died. As a matter of fact, this is not on the usual path between Concordia-Platz, the target of the mountaineers, and the refuge, but 1 kilometer north. This suggests that the mountaineers most likely got lost on their way back. As an additional clue, historical witnesses reported sudden snowfalls in the afternoon of the 4th of March 1926. In conclusion, we can state with a large certainty that the mountaineers neither fell into a crevasse nor were they caught by an avalanche, but they became disoriented in the poor weather conditions and then froze to death. Inevitably, the corpses of all unfortunate mountaineers which have been trapped in a moving glacier will be released from the ice in the future. Some of them will be found. It is hoped that this scientific and mathematical approach will help investigators to clean up further glacial mysteries.